afternoon and good evening, whichever practice you're planning on doing and what time. So I'm Helen and I'll be taking you through a grounding and uplifting practice. So if you want to set your camera up today so that it's angled to the long edge of your mat, so it's facing your long edge. So basically like I am now. And I'm going to be doing a lot of things that will be facing forward to you from this long edge of the mat, rather than where I can be at the front of the mat. Okay, so we're going to be doing some alternate nostril breathing today, which will balance out your left and right side. So if you feel a little bit out of balance at the moment with everything that's going on out there in the world, this Nadi Shodhana alternate nostril breathing practice will help just balance everything from the internal body. It basically works on balancing your masculine and feminine side, your strong, your weak, your light, your dark, everything that is opposites. It brings everything into balance to make it duality. So if you want to come to a seated position first, either in a cross-legged, legs out in front or on the knees, I favour a cross-legged position. If you struggle to stay upright here, you can always take yourself to a wall. We're going to be here for a few moments because we're going to be taking that alternate nostril breathing at the beginning of the class. Once you've found your seated position, just let the shoulders relax. Close the eyes. Take a nice long deep breath in through the nose and alongside out through the mouth. Take a roll of the shoulders on your next in-breath, forward and up towards the ears. And on your out-breath, let those shoulders relax down towards the hips. And as the shoulders drop down, feel the rooting of the sit bones into the floor, that grounding sensation into the mat. Just noticing maybe where the feet are touching the floor, if you're in cross-legged like me, the outsides of the feet. If you're on the knees, the tops of the feet. If the legs are out long, maybe it's the back of the heels. Just noticing those points of contact to the floor. Take another breath in. This time bring the shoulders back. Bring them up towards the ears. And then let them relax back forward and down towards the hips. And again, just feel everything weighted to the floor. Eyes are closed to notice them sensations a little deeper. Your next breath in, try and elongate through the crown of the head up through the spine, but keeping those shoulders relaxed down towards the hips. Noticing that elongation, that uplifting towards the upper part of the body, so the whole spine feels nice and stretched rather than collapsed and all those vertebrae pinching each other. We're trying to feel that space and expansion through all those vertebrae in the spine. So the in-breath feels the lightness and the lift and the elongation, and the out-breath feels as grounding those sit bones, those feet. Maybe you're feeling the outsides of those shins, maybe you're feeling the backs of the legs, or maybe you're sitting on those shins, depending on that seated position. Just want you to be aware of everything that's touching the mat and everything growing tall on each inhale. Then bringing that right hand up towards the face. The right thumb is coming onto the right nostril. The second finger and middle finger touches the middle of the forehead, the third eye. And then the last two fingers are just relaxed at the side of the left nostril, ready to switch those off when we take our alternate breathing. So pushing that right thumb into that right nostril. Closing the mouth here, take a breath in through the left. Close the left off with the last two fingers, release the thumb, breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right. Close the right off, release the left nostril, breathe out through the left. Breathe in through the left. Close the left off, out through the right. In through the right. Close the right off, out through the left. In through the left. Out through the right. In through the right. Out through the left. In through the left. Close the left off, out through the right. In through the right. Out through the left. In through the left. Out through the right. In through the right. Out through the left. In through the left. Out through the right. In through the right. Out through the left. Release the hand back to the thigh. Take a nice long deep breath in through both nostrils. And out through both nostrils. Open the eyes, roll the shoulders forward, up towards the ears on the inhale. Elongate through the spine and the crown of the head. On the exhale, let those shoulders drop down towards the hips and that grounding through the seats. So bringing your left hand to the floor, reach up with your right hand and send the body over towards that left side of the room, taking a little lateral flexion through the spine. Try and keep those right sit bones grounded to the floor. Remember, we're working on that sensation of grounding. And the elongation and uplift comes through that top hand, through that right hand reaching towards the left side of the body. And then bringing that hand down to the floor. Reach up this time with the left hand, right hand to the floor. As you reach over now with that left hand to the right side of the room. Just grounding into that right hand as much as you can. Grounding into that left sit bone. Just feeling those sensations of touch to the floor. Trying to lengthen as much as you can with that left hand towards that right side of the room. Expanding through that left rib cage. Come back to the centre. Taking your right hand to your left knee. Bring that left hand behind. Elongate, grow up, lift through the crown of the head. And on the out breath, find that rotation. Feel both sit bones nice and grounded onto that floor. The rotation comes from the waist. Tallness through the crown of the head. Then bring it back through centre, bringing that left hand onto your right knee, right hand behind, both sit bones rooted into that earth, finding that stability, that support by the floor. Feeling the uplift through the crown of the head. Come back to centre, and we're going to bring our knees in towards each other. Bringing our feet flat to the mat, feeling the sensations of those soles of the feet, and then bring the hands just to the sides of the body, palms facing down, fingertips pointing out. Let the knees go over to your left side, shoulders stay forward as you rotate through the waist, and bring those hips to facing the left side as the shoulders stay forward facing me. Feel that sensation of the palms pushing into the mat. And as you push them in, maybe just lift that chest, lift that gaze. Feeling that stretch and expansion through the front side of the body. And that rotation through that centre waist. Bring those knees back to centre. Bring the chest down a little. And then let the knees go over to your right side. Keep the shoulders facing forward. And then lift up through that chest. Sending those rib cages into a little bit of a flare. stretching that front side of the body, but also taking that rotation, feeling that support of the hands on the floor, feeling the sensation of the sides of the feet as they've rolled over on the mat. Bring those knees back to center, bring that chest back out of expansion. Then let the feet come a little bit closer. Let the feet come together and the knees drop out to the side, taking hold of the soles of the feet, turning the soles of the feet upwards, maybe having a little massage of the soles of those feet. Just letting the tension release, that connective tissue. If you've been on your feet all day, always good to give your feet that little bit of self-massage. When you've done that little bit of self-massage, use the elbows to push into the sides of the thighs. Breathe in, length, elongate. Breathe out, flex from the hips, and just let your body fold over those legs. You don't have to be coming this deep. Maybe your knees are a little higher here. But just feeling the length of the torso, trying not to collapse over those legs, keeping everything long, uplifted, everything grounded into the floor that's touching the mat. And just hold it here in that groin extension, the inside of those thighs, feeling that stretch in that space. One more breath here. And then let those knees come back into the center. Give those knees a hug. Breathe in, lift up through the chest. Breathe out, just fold those heads over and into those knees. Curling through the spine of the back. Just letting the back of the neck stretch. The upper part of the back in that thoracic space between the rib cage and those lower lumbar spines. Then lifting up through the crown of the head again. Take a hold of the creases of the knees, and we're going to find that balancing point between the sit bones and in that lower part of the spine, that little triangular space. And then lifting one leg up to knee high, lifting the other leg to join it, and just hold it on that balancing section of the body. Try and create that expansion through the front of the chest again, lifting up through the crown of the head. So have that sensation as you breathe in, lightness and lift, and the breath out, feel those sit bones, those lower spines rooting into the floor to find that stability of this balance of boats. If you wish just to challenge it a little more, maybe release the right hand out to the side, release the left hand to join that right hand on the opposite side. Relax the shoulders, expand the chest, maybe raise the gaze slightly and breathe here as you hold it in this space. Remember, you can still be holding on to those knees if you wish. One more breath here. Then release those feet back down. Again, give those knees a hug. Let the head come into the knees, stretch through the back of the body. And then we're going to make our way onto our knees now. So swing the legs around, still facing this long edge of the mat, bringing the knees into the center. Let the knees come hip width apart, tops of the feet flat, bringing the hands across the chest. We're going to be taking it into some reverse Nordics. So I'll take this from the side position so you can see where we're going. Tops of the feet flat, hips push forward. On your out breath, let yourself push into the floor with the knees and the shins as you slowly release that body back to maybe close to a 45-degree angle. And then lift back up, feeling the lift up through the crown as you come to stack the shoulders and hips over those knees. Your next out breath, start to lean yourself back again. Your next in breath, feel that expansion, the lift, but the grounding of those shins and tops of the feet into the floor. And again, take it back. We're just going to do 2 more of these. Bring those shoulders back over the hips again, using those thighs as strength to hold the pose. Take it back and then lift those shoulders back over the hips. So we're still in this facing that long edge of the mat. Bring the hands to the floor, step across with your left leg, step across with your right leg, and just heel toe those feet into the centre. You may wish to use a block here or some books just to bring the hands to the floor. So we've now got wide leg, forward fold. If you need to bend the knees in this space, bend the knees as much as you can to bring those hands to the floor. If you're happy to have legs straight, straighten those legs. So we're in this half fold, hands to the floor, hips lifted up to the ceiling, and I want you to feel that sensation of pushing into the outside edges of the feet. And as you push into the outside edges, I want you to push into the big toes also. Once you've got that sensation of that support of the floor, I'm going to mirror image you now. Bring your right hand into the centre of the mat, bringing your left hand onto the shoulder and turn and rotate through the upper part of the body, and then raise that left hand to the ceiling, finding the support and grounding of that right palm of the hand on the floor. Maybe take a gaze up towards that thumb if you wish to do so, or take that gaze out to the side, wherever feels most comfortable for that neck. Holding it in this space just for a couple of breaths. And then releasing that hand down to the floor. So now the left hand comes where the right hand is. And then you bring that right hand onto the shoulder, turn the shoulders, and then raise that right hand up to the ceiling, still having that sensation of the push of the feet into the floor, the left hand supporting the twist, the right hand reaching up, maybe the gaze up towards that thumb. Breathing easy breaths as you find this rotation. Remember, the knees could be slightly bent here, but just feel everything holding this pose by the support of the earth. Then releasing that hand back down, and then just let the body fold over those legs. Just let the head hang. Try let everything traction the neck, so that gravity is taking that body over those thighs, stretching through the back, stretching through the shoulders, stretching around those shoulder blades, those necks. And then bringing the hands onto the hips, keep pushing into the feet, bend the knees a lot, and start to curl up through that spine, one vertebra at a time, all the way up to standing. And as you arrive in standing, turn the toes out to the corners of the mat. Reach up with the hands, 5-pointed star, pushing those hips forward, lifting the lower belly up, relaxing around the shoulders so they're not creeping up to the ears, but reaching through the fingertips. So you feel that uplifting of the upper part of the body and the push into the feet and the support of that floor. Bring the hands back to the hips, turning your right toes to the right corner of the mat, mirror imaging again here, and take a bend into that right knee. The sensation push of the outside edge of that left foot as you find warrior two legs. We're finding the legs and the grounding first. So the shoulders should be stacked over the hips, and the hips relatively central to the feet. The outside edge of that left foot is really strongly pushing into the mat, but also is the big toe. The sole of the foot on this right leg is pushing into the floor, so you feel the heel and the ball of the foot. And then reaching out with the arms, feeling that sensation, the pull of the fingers from each side of the root. Palms are facing down, just for a moment, just as we find those arms, and make sure both arms are in line with the shoulders. Then turn the palms up, let the shoulders relax. Then turn the palms back, leaving the shoulders relaxed, but the arms still nice and long. Still push those feet into the mat. And when you've found that push of the feet down, see whether you can feel like you're drawing the feet towards each other. They're not going to move, but it's that sensation of engagement of the lower limbs. One more breath here in warrior two. Then straighten through that right leg, turn the right toes back to the long edge, turn your left toes to the short edge. Bend into your left knee this time. Again, find those feet, push them into the mat, outside edge of that right foot and into the big toe. The ball and heel of that left foot. Arms are staying shoulder height, starting to work the strength of those shoulders to keep those arms lifted. Your shoulders should still be relaxed, but if they feel a little tight, turn the palms up, relax the shoulders, and then turn the palms back, leaving those shoulders relaxed. Think about where that crown of the head is sitting on top of that spine, which is sat on top of those hips. That pelvis is that support between the lower and that upper body. So holding it in Warrior 2, facing towards that left side of the room just for another breath. And then bring the hands to the hips, straighten up through both legs. Turn both sets of toes just in front of the heels. Take a breath in. Grow tall through the spine. Take a breath out and come to a half fold. Take another breath in here. On your out breath, allow that body to fold over those legs, just bringing the hands to the ankles, the shins, or just below the knees, wherever you can reach. Take another breath in, maybe come up to a half length. On your out breath, use the strength of the hands maybe to pull those bodies over those thighs a little more. Again, if you need to slightly bend those knees, if the hamstrings are tight, take a little bend in the knees. Take the pressure of that back chain of muscles slightly away. Again, let that head hang. Try not to hold tension through that neck. Remember, the heads don't have to come anywhere close to the floor like mine are. It might be just that you're quite high up, but you feel that sensation of stretch down the back of the legs. One more breath here. Bring the hands back to the hips. Start to curl up through the spine, bending the knees a little as you roll back up. And as you come back up to standing, roll the shoulders back. Bring the heels slightly in, toes slightly out. Reach up with the hands and feel the stretch through those upper limbs and feel the push into the feet with the lower part of the body. Again, sit bones. We're trying to tuck them down, lift those lower bellies up so we have a good support in the centre. So bringing the hands back to the hips, turning your left toes to the long edge, your right toes towards that short edge. Bring the arms out to T-shape. Reach across with that right hand. Bring that right hand to the inside of that right shin as that left hand lifts up to the ceiling. And we're trying to find that sensation of that right shoulder ticking under and that left shoulder stacking. We're reaching up and uplifting through that top arm, but we're sending that bottom arm down towards the earth and expanding the chest as we do so. So we feel those two sensations of uplift and grounding. Triangle pose on this side. Try and create the same sort of length at the side of each left and right of the torso. So we're not just collapsing over that right side. We're feeling that length down that side of the body. Just holding it here, just for one more breath. Little micro bend in that left knee, right knee, so we're not locking out. Then bringing those shoulders back over those hips, turn both sets of toes. So now your right toes are facing the long edge, left toes facing the short edge. Reach forward with that left hand, bring it to the inside of that left shin. As you reach up with that right hand to the ceiling, down to the floor with the left hand. Again, creating that expansion and length from the fingertips of the right hand down to the fingertips of the left. Try not to lock out the joint through that left knee. Give it a little micro bend, switch on those muscles. And let that elongation come along the side of that right waist, so it's almost the same kind of elongation as the left side. That gaze can be up to that top thumb, head in line with the spine rather than hanging down, using the muscles in the side of the neck on the right. Then lifting those shoulders back over the hips. Bring the hands back to the hips, turn both sets of toes in front of the heels, push into the sides of the feet. On your out breath, just let that body fold to a half space. Take a breath in here. On your out breath, allow that body to fold over the thighs, bringing the hands to the floor or to the shins, ankles, wherever you wish to bring those hands. If you bring them to the floor, find that sensation of those palms pushing into the mat. Feeling all 5 digits pushing into the floor, little finger, thumb, index finger, pushing those hands into the mat for support. Hold it in this space just for another couple of breaths. Have a little nod and shake the head, relaxing through that neck. And then taking a bend into the knees, bring the hands onto the hips, curl back up through that spine, one vertebra at a time, bringing yourself all the way back up to standing. And then turning your right toes to face that short edge of the mat and your left toes to face the long edge. Take a bend into your right knee, bring your right forearm onto the top of the right thigh and turn that right palm up. Reach up with the left hand to the ceiling, create that expansion, that lift, and on the out breath, feel that sensation of push into those feet, into the outside edge of that left foot. And then reaching across to the right side of the room with that left hand. Still feeling the shoulders and hips turning towards the front of the mat, that long edge of the mat. Maybe take a gaze up to that top hand. Hold it in this space. Maybe find that sensation of drawing those feet towards each other, which switches on those lower limbs. One more breath in this place. And then bringing your shoulders back over your hips, arms out T-shape. Turn both sets of feet. So turning your left foot to the short edge, right foot to the long edge. Take a bend into your left knee. Bring your left forearm onto the top of the left thigh, turning the palm up. Reach up with the right hand first. Elongate both sides of the waist, sensation pushing into that floor with the feet. And then reaching over with that right hand to that left side of the room. Trying to create some space around the ear on that right side. So bring that right shoulder back to the hip, but still finding the length through the arm. Reaching across. Head in line with the spine. Or maybe take a gaze up to that top hand. Find that sensation of drawing the feet towards each other. That activation of those lower legs just for a breath. And then bringing those shoulders back over those hips, straighten through both legs. Bring both legs so toes are pointing to the long edge. Hands to the hips, take a breath in. Breath out, fold over those legs to a half fold. Bring the hands to the floor in half fold, or maybe use a block or a book. Bringing your right hand into the center, your left hand onto the left shoulder. Turn, twist, rotate. And then send that hand up to the ceiling, gazing up to the thumb. Rotating through the waist, pushing the crown towards me. Lifting the tailbone up a little bit towards the sky. Find that sensation of that slight pelvic tilt, tailbone lifting, lower belly dropping down. And then bringing that left hand to the floor where the right hand is. And then bring the right hand onto the shoulder, turn, twist, rotate. and send that hand up to the ceiling. With that rotation of the waist, it turns the shoulders to the right and the hips stay neutral. Try not to drop into either hip. Quite often when we rotate, the hip that you're rotating to lifts. So try and keep those pelvises square to the mat. Bring that hand back down to the floor. Just let the body fold over those legs. Just let the head hang. Just hold it in this space. Maybe you need to just bend the knees a little. Whatever works for you, or just straighten the legs as much as you can to feel that stretch down the back of the body. On your next breath in, start to bring the hands to the hips, bend the knees, start to curl up through that spine, one vertebra at a time, bringing yourself all the way back up to standing. And when you arrive back, roll the shoulders back. So we're going to bring ourselves across to the left side of the mat, and we're going to bring a balance in onto that left foot. So lifting the left toes up, and then start to bring the toes down one at a time. Hands stay on the hips to try and find that stable, neutral pelvis. Put your weight into that left foot as you lift that right knee up to hip height. Holding it here. Relaxing through the shoulders. Toes of that right foot coming back towards the shins. Just holding in that hip flexor strengthener just for a breath. And then lift that knee up a little higher. Bring your right hand onto the ankle. Bring that right foot to the bum and the right knee down to meet that left knee. Finding that stretch along the thigh on that right leg. Keep pushing the hips forward. Keep squeezing that foot in towards the bum, expanding the chest at the front, grounding through that standing leg. Those left toes pushing into the mat, feeling the heel of the foot, the ball of the foot on that left side. Try not to let that left foot rock out on either side edges. Push those hips forward a little more. And one more breath in this space. And then bring that knee back through. Take a hold of the knee with both hands. Still find that sensation of that foot on the left side pushing down, the elongation and the uplift through the crown of the head, through the spine, down to that tailbone. One more breath here. And then release that foot to the floor. Come up onto the toes, bring the arms forward, and then slowly let yourself come down to the mat, keeping the heels lifted if you can, bringing your bum down towards your heels. And once those bums have come to the heels, bring the hands to the floor, let your left knee come to the mat and your right leg come out to the side. So now we're trying to bring our hips past that left knee, bringing both hands to the floor here, and then just rock forwards and backwards in this space a couple of times just to get those hips and those inner groins used to a little bit of stretch. And then the next time you come back with the hips, hold it in that space, bring the elbows to the floor. And just hold it here for a couple of breaths. So pushing into the outside edge of that right foot, pushing into the top of that left foot, and we're feeling that sensation of the floor underneath the feet. The crown of the head is reaching forward towards me to elongate that spine. Maybe then lift slightly of that tailbone, but then let it settle back a little closer towards that left heel. Feeling the stretch on the inside of this thigh. One more breath in this space. And then bring yourself back up onto your hands. Bring that right knee back to meet the left. Tuck the toes under. Bring the seat towards the feet, keep the heels lifted, find that balance, and then slowly start to bring yourself up all the way to standing with those heels lifted away from the floor. Once you've arrived in standing, just hold it there for a breath and then let those heels release down. Stepping yourself across now to the opposite side of the mat. And we're going to bring the weight onto that right foot this time. So taking that same balance on this side. So ground into that right foot and lift up with that left knee, keeping the hips nice and neutral. Try not to let those hips hike. Hold it in this space just for a couple of breaths. Find a focal point in front of you. Feeling tall but grounded. Then take a hold of the ankle of that left foot with the left hand and then bring that left knee down to meet the right and the left foot in towards the bum. Then push those hips forward. Feel the sensation of that grounded foot, all those muscles working to keep you in that balance. Shoulders relaxed, chest expanded. Keep squeezing that foot into the bum, bringing that left knee back with line with the right. And then bringing that knee back through. Take a hold of the knee, squeeze it in. Keep lifted, try not to arch through the back. Keep that back nice and tall. Then release that foot down. Bring the arms out in front of you. Come up onto those toe tips. And then slowly, with control, bring yourself down towards the floor, bringing those bums to those heels. And once you get down, you'll hear your knees probably crack like mine. Just hold it in that space for a breath. Then bring the hands to the floor, bringing your right knee to the mat, sending your left leg out nice and long to the left side. Hands come into more of a central space, so the hips are coming beyond that right knee. Then just rock forward and backwards in this space. Feel the whole of those hands pushing into the mat or into the floor just off the mat. Wide fingers pushing into the index finger, thumb, little finger. The next time you take your hips back, maybe come down onto the forearms. Feel the sensation of the forearms pushing into the floor now. Those hips pushing back, that stretch on the inside of that left thigh. Push into the outside edge of that left foot. Push into the top of the right foot that's supporting and helping that right knee. One more breath in this space. Then bringing those hands back, bringing your left knee back to meet the right. Then bring yourself back up onto your toe tips with the knees bent in that squat position. And when you've found that squat position, just raise the arms up to shoulder height. And we're going to transition back up to standing, trying to keep the heels lifted. So pushing into those feet, engaging those thighs as you come up to standing. And then release those heels down. Step yourself back to a wide leg stance. Toes in front of the heels. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Fold to a half fold. Take another breath in here. On your out breath, start to fold over those legs, bringing those hands down either to the floor or to the shins or ankles, and let everything hang. Let go of the head. So your next breath in, bring the hands back to the hips. Slowly curl back up through that spine, bending the knees if you need to. Bringing yourself all the way back up to standing. Once you've got to standing, turn the toes out, reach up with the hands. Find that 5-pointed star, feeling the reach up to the ceiling, the push down into the mat. And then bringing yourself to turning to the left side of the mat. Coming onto the toes of the back foot, bending into that left knee. Bring the hands then to the chest, palms come together. Bringing your left elbow over that left knee and turning and rotating around, twisting through the waist. So that left knee stays bent, that right elbow hooks. Both hands push into each other to find some rotation. Both hips stay nice and square to the mat. And the heel of that right foot is pushing back towards the back of the mat. So holding it in this rotation for a few breaths. So you should be facing away from the camera. Right elbow hooking over that left knee. One more breath in this space. Then lift those shoulders back up. Turn yourself all the way around to the right side of the mat. Come onto the toes of the right foot and bend that right knee. This time left elbow hooks over that right knee. And we turn and we twist and we rotate. Feeling that stretch along the waist. We should be facing away from the camera with that rotation. Left elbow, right knee. And we're on the toes of the back foot, keeping that back leg nice and straight. That right knee bent. And then bringing yourself back to center. So turning back around, heels face out, toes face out, heels in. Bring the arms to a T shape. Then start to fold from the hips. Just bringing yourself to a half fold. Palms start to face down. Hold it there for a breath. And then lift back up with the torso and cactus the arms. This time bend the knees, track the knees towards the toes, finding a sumo squat. Then straighten up through the legs, straighten through the arms, T-shape, and then fold to the hips, bringing yourself to a half fold, palms facing down, toes pointing out, heels pointing in. Bring those shoulders back over the hips, cactus the arms, bend the knees, track them towards the toes. Straighten up through the legs, straighten up through the arms, and fold to a half fold, let the palms face down. Bring those shoulders back up, find cactus arms, bend the knees, straighten back up, hands back to the hips, heel toe the feet back into the center. Bring the arms up to shoulder height, come up onto the toes, and slowly let those bums come down towards the heels, finding that crouch balance on the toe tips, just for a breath. And then bring the hands to the floor, knees to the floor, untuck the toes, bring the seats back to the feet, bring the hands onto those thighs. Take a breath in, roll the shoulders up towards the ears, back down towards the hips. Taking that alternate nostril breathing, bringing the right hand up to the face. Right thumb on the right nostril, second and middle finger on the forehead, And the last two fingers ready to block off that left side in a moment. Breath in through the left. Block the left off, out through the right. In through the right. Block the right off, out through the left. In through the left. Block the left off, out through the right. In through the right. Block the right off, out through the left. In through the left. Block the left off, out through the right. In through the right. Block the right off, out through the left. In through the left. Block the left off, out through the right. In through the right. Block the right off, out through the left. In through the left. Block the left off, out through the right. In through the right. Block the right off, out through the left. Release the hand to the thigh. Breathe in. And breathe out long. I'll bring the seat to the floor, still facing that long edge of the mat. We're going to widen those legs as much as we can. Remove the flesh from under the sit bones. Feet pointing up, knees pointing up. Relax the shoulders, elongate through the spine, ground through the pubic bone, the tailbone, and ground through that sit bones. Bring the hands in front of you, take a breath in. On your out breath, start to walk those hands forward, keeping the chest facing forward and just folding from the hips. It might be that you get to here and that's where you need to stop. Just use the breath. The breath in creates the space, the lift. The breath out creates the grounding into the floor, pushing into the heels of the feet, pushing those calves into the mat, the hamstrings into the mat, the sit bones into the mat. Engaging those upper thighs to push those knees down. Just using that breath, maybe finding a little more fold. Maybe you've come down onto the forearms, maybe you're still here with the hands. That's absolutely fine, so long as you can feel the stretch through the back of those legs. So this practice, we've done quite a lot of hamstring work because we've been doing lots of wide leg forward folds. Now we're doing a wide leg seated forward fold. So really working into those back chain of muscles. Start to walk your hands over to your right foot. Let the shoulders track towards that right toes. And then just let the breath out, come with a fold over those legs again. Just thinking about grounding into that left sit bone. So try not to let that left sit bone lift. Keep it supported by the floor. Use that breath. Find that sensation of stretch down that left side of the back. Then bring yourself back through center. Take your shoulders to face the opposite leg. So facing to that left leg. And then let that body fold over that left side. Thinking the stretch of that right back of the body now. Keep using the breath to find that fold. Keep pushing into both sit bones. Then bringing that torso back to the center and just see whether you get a little more fold in the middle. Maybe those muscles have started to relax off a little bit and you find a little bit more range of movement. then walking those hands back up towards the body. So taking a bend into your left knee, bringing your left foot into that right thigh. Bringing your right hand onto the top of the right shin, reach up with your left hand and then start to fold over towards that right leg. So that right hand can come down towards that right foot, or bring that right forearm into just in front of that right leg, but keep that expansion of the chest facing up, reaching across with that left hand to the right side of the room, feeling that stretch down that left side waist and into that back. One more breath here. And then bring the shoulders back up. Bring your right hand to your left knee. Just take a little rotation around to your left side. And then take a rotation to the other way with the legs the way they are. And just loosens off that back. And then bringing your left leg back out long. Take a bend into your right leg and bring that right foot into that left thigh. Bringing your left hand onto that left shin, reach up with your right hand and start to fold over to that side, bringing either the left forearm on towards the mat or just letting that left hand creep down that left leg, turning and twisting the chest towards the ceiling, reaching through that upper arm, feeling the stretch down that right side body, keeping that right knee down towards the floor, both sit bones rooted. Easy breaths as we fold and feel that stretch all the way down to that right hip. Bring those shoulders back up. Bring both legs out to the front. Just give those legs a little paddle. In fact, just take those legs back out because we just need to do a little rotation to both sides. So just bring in now your left hand to your right knee, rotate to the right. We can't forget both sides, obviously. And then take it to the other side, rotating to the left. And then now we can bring those legs back out straight in front of you and give those legs a paddle. I don't like to not mirror image both sides. It always makes me feel a little bit imbalanced, and it's all about the balance today, those balance of those left and right sides. Okay, so toes are back towards the shins, heels pushing into the mat. Reach up with both arms up towards the ceiling, and on your out breath, start to fold over those legs, pivoting from the hips. Try not to curl through the back, keep the chest pointing forward. Bring the hands to wherever they reach. Breath in elongates, breath out, we fold. And just allow that body to sit in its forward fold for a few breaths. Maybe you want to lift and lengthen. On your out breath, maybe fold that a little bit deeper. Pushing the heels away, toes back to the shins. Engage in the upper thighs to push those knees down a little further. And then walking the hands back up the legs. We're going to finish with a little bit of mindful meditation. So we're going to stay up seated. Find yourself a comfortable seat. It may be that you go back into your cross-leg position. It may be that you bring your legs out long and you go up against a wall. It may be you want to come onto your knees. Close the eyes. Take a deep breath in. Long breath out. And just take your own automatic, natural breathing patterns. Noticing the sit bones if you're seated on the bum, If you're on the knees, maybe notice those shins pushing into the floor. Just being aware of all the sensations of touch to the mat. And just thinking about that stability it's giving you back. Thinking about that space of the pelvis around those hips. And the sensation of whether they feel a little bit more mobile compared to the beginning of practice. Just being aware of that space. Bring your attention to that place. Bring the attention now to the shoulders, allowing the shoulders to be relaxed. Noticing the sensation of those shoulder sockets, those shoulder blades, the collarbones. Noticing the sensation of this space, whether they feel a little looser, a little stronger after your practice. Being aware of around the space of the neck, around the throat. Noticing whether any tension has been released as you've moved through the practice. Noticing the muscles of the face, the eyes hopefully slightly closed, the forehead relaxed, the jaw relaxed. Noticing that air coming out of either the nostrils or the mouth, if it's coming out of the nostrils. Noticing the air maybe on the upper lip. Being aware of the crown of the head as it reaches up with that uplifted sensation. Bringing that right hand up to the face, bring that right thumb onto that right nostril, 2 fingers into the space of the centre of the forehead, last 2 fingers at the side of the left nostril, finishing with that Nadi, Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, breathe in through the left. Close the left off, out through the right. In through the right. Close the right off, out through the left. Keep that going for a couple of breaths. Being aware of the sensation of the parts of the body touching the mat. Being aware of the sensations of that breath. Being aware of the uplifted in-breath and the grounded out-breath. Lightness and lift on your inhale. Support and stability into the floor on your exhale. The next time you get to breathing out of the left side of the nostril, bring the hand back to the thigh. With the eyes closed, Bring the chin into the chest, stretch through the back of the neck. And then lift that head, chin pointing up to the ceiling to stretch that throat. Bring that head back to center. Take a turn of the head to the left. Shoulders stay facing forward. Take a turn of the head to the right. Come back to center. Bring your left ear to the left shoulder. And back to center. Right ear to right shoulder. And back to center. Take a long deep breath in. Long breath out. Just take a moment here. Just noticing the sensations of the body, the sensation of the breath. Bring the hands to the chest. Take a rub of the palms together, create some heat in those palms. Then bringing those hands over the eyes, blinking into the palms, allow some light through the fingers. Take a deep breath in. On your out breath, let the hands come to the chest, palms together. Soft gaze to the floor. Have peace in your thoughts. Have peace in your words. Have peace in your hearts. From my heart to yours. Namaste.